Good morning to one and all, and I take great pleasure in welcoming you all to the webinar titled An Integrated Approach to Manage IT Network Traffic, an Overview. I am Sai Sundar, and I work with Manage Engine, and I take care of the product marketing for NetFlow Analyzer product. So quickly, here is the agenda of today's session, and I have absolutely no intentions of taking the session more than 45 minutes, so that is the max it will go up to, of which I will not be talking for more than 20-25 minutes, and the rest of it will be done for answering questions that you send in. And yeah, we could have some interaction after that through the chat window that is provided there. Questions that I will not be able to take today due to time constraints will be answered via email. And I would also like to let you know that this presentation will be given to you on demand as of now. So the agenda for today is a quick look at Manage Engine, barely 2 slides, a couple of minutes about who we are, what we do, and this is mainly for the uninitiated audience that has no idea who we are. The second thing is traditional traffic analysis and tools and techniques. Over the years, what has been used in the networking industry to manage network traffic, to perform traffic analysis and all that is covered in this section. The third section is the changing face of network traffic. Well, this is a very dynamic and a volatile industry that we work in, the networking industry, and it keeps changing every now and then. And before you even get to terms with how it is today, tomorrow something else comes up, and so that's how it is, and all of us know that. So this is a quick look at how the network traffic is changing with time. And the fourth point is a fresh look, which is integrate it all, integrate IT. So, and after that, the single point solution, that is after the integration, what benefits does the single point solution give you? And a couple of use cases which are a bit industry specific, and then the business benefits, as in when you use a tool, a technical tool especially, what benefits in terms of business, in terms of ROI do you get? Why at all would you use that tool is dealt with in this section. And briefly a quick summary of what we saw in this session. So now I'm getting into the actual webinar. So this is basically who we are. Manage Engine belongs to the company called Zoho Corp, which was earlier known as AdventNet Inc. And it has totally 3 subdivisions. One is WebNMS, which is the telecom division. And Manage Engine, well, we are the IT management suite of products constituting everything from network management, application management, service desk, configuration management, practically anything and everything that you need under the sun for managing your IT in the organization is offered by Manage Engine. And the SaaS solutions, all your cloud-based products like your Zoho Writer, Docs, and all of that come under Zoho. And Zoho CRM, yes, as you all know, is very popular in the market. And that is basically a heads up on who we are. And we, belonging to the Manage Engine fraternity, have taken up IT networking as the core topic of today, and how an integrated solution is going to make life easier for all IT professionals, no matter whether they are on the being managed side or whether they are IT managers themselves, because everybody is impacted at the end of the day because of the IT management tools that the company basically uses in terms of productivity, in terms of resource availability, usage, and a lot of other factors. So that is basically what we'll see in today's session. So Manage Engine, what is special about Manage Engine? What is outstanding about it? I mean, there are many players in the market. There's the big 4. There are a lot of things in the market. So many products you can get from renowned names. But what makes Manage Engine stand apart is what we have tried to convey in this slide. First thing is, in the whole industry, the vendor landscape is basically these three types which are enumerated here. One is acquired products. Some companies in this industry have the habit of acquiring several small products, and obviously they'll have to recover the cost from the customer, and so the prices are pretty high, because when you buy a single tool from a vendor, a particular vendor, well, you're charged the cost of that. But when a company follows this acquisition, the M&A, the merger and acquisition model, obviously the acquisition cost is also covered from the customer's side. So that makes these products pretty expensive. Second thing is independent point products. Yes, you have one tool to manage your QoS, one tool for your SLAs, one tool for your bandwidth. Obviously, yeah, you'll end up using so many tools, and that again increases the cost because of the sheer multitude of products that is available. And again, there is another complexity here, which is from the management side. I mean, how many tools will a sysadmin or an IT administrator juggle between for each and everything? So that is basically the core point of today's session. What we're trying to drive home is that an integrated tool which acts as a singular point of solution. I mean, it's not about Manage Engine product or anything. It's just an integrated solution is what fits the IT industry best, and in fact, substantiating it, what benefits it can give, and what all factors do you need to consider. I mean, under that integration, what are the several different components that go into it is what we'll see. So, Manage Engine doesn't fall under either of the two categories. I mean, we don't acquire or we don't offer acquired products to our customers. We make them on our own, and integrated value and affordable price point. We used to even have this 90-10 statement earlier, which is 90% of the features that you get from the Big Four at almost 10% of the price. So 90% features at the 10% cost is definitely a good trade, and that is the reason why Manage Engine software is probably being used by 55,000 customers and still counting today. All right, that's all about Manage Engine, and now the Manage Engine story for now is put on hold. We'll go to the webinar. Traditional approaches and tools. Okay, IT networks have always been complex, and with each passing day, it's getting increasingly complex because of the advent of new techniques, new technologies, new devices. I mean, the reasons are just so many, but what remains is that the fact that IT networks are becoming increasingly complex, and IT network monitoring or IT network management is no longer an optional thing to do, but it is certainly a mandatory thing to do for any IT administrator. It's no longer a luxury, or it goes beyond considerations such as affordability or what value it adds directly, etc., etc. IT network management, it has to be done in an organization to simply ensure that your network is being properly used, and more importantly, your network is not being misused, and everybody gets an equal share of the resources for productive purposes. So earlier, what used to be the case, what were the different tools and the approaches that were followed overall throughout has been enumerated here. One is network monitoring platforms. You have huge products, very bulky products that specialize in network monitoring. SNMP tools are an example, and they fall under this category. They basically perform network monitoring in every sense. The second thing is monitoring tools integrated with NMPs. For example, when you take a particular product in the market which does network management, it generally has a couple of subsets, as in a couple of small tools that act as add-ons to it, to monitor bandwidth, to monitor IP/SLA, to monitor everything specifically. So that is basically the monitoring tools that are integrated with NMPs. The next thing is commercial monitoring tools not integrated with an NMP. These are the independent point products that we saw, which perform very specifically defined functions. And the next thing is public domain network monitoring tools. Yes, you do find a lot of network monitoring tools available in public domain today, and at different prices. You do have a couple of, a lot of free tools in the market too to perform this function. And web-based tools. Yes, this is another one emerging. It's rather emerged fully, and today we have a huge suite of it's more an intelligent form of a report in which data collected over a period of time is automatically analyzed, and it gives you the prescribed course of action, and you do have examples for that also. So there is a very clear-cut difference between dashboarding tools and tools that analyze. So these are the different approaches and mainly the tools that are available for managing and monitoring network traffic. So now, what would you basically have to look for in a network monitoring tool when you decide to go and buy a network monitoring tool? What are the principal critical factors that you need to take a look at is what critical factors to look for says. First thing is web-based tool. It's an IT organization and it's basically networking. So it makes perfect sense to go for a web-based tool, which is easily available from every nook and corner of the world, which can scale pretty well and get you what you want at a reasonable price. The second thing is report generation. Reports are a very, very important part of any IT network manager's job, because when everything is fine, nobody's going to question him. But once a network is slow, or when there is a problem, or when there is heavy downtime and critical operations are getting affected, he's certainly going to be under the gunpoint, being questioned as to what went wrong, and reports are the key to all of the questions that you'll have to answer at that point of time. So multiple reporting options with convenient import-export options in different formats, because you might have to present it to different levels in the management. So some may demand a PDF, some may demand an XLS. There are a lot of things. So report generation has to be facilitated by the tool, and it has to be very easy. It shouldn't be a very cumbersome process. And then alerts. When a particular threshold is being violated, he needs to be able to set an alert to immediately identify what is going wrong. And when bandwidth utilization cannot exceed a particular limit, set an alert, and you get an alert by email or by SMS or whatever options the tool offers, and that helps you to identify proactively what went wrong and take a prescribed course of action. Troubleshoot reports comes wherein an incident has already occurred and you're just looking forward to make sure that it doesn't happen again. So you need to perform a root cause analysis to find out what went wrong and what it takes to put it back to normal. And that is what your troubleshoot reports does. Compare reports are again basically for comparison, as the name suggests. But what do you compare? When under normal circumstances, a report looks like this. A HTTP application consumes X Mbps bandwidth. So, but under abnormal circumstances, it's basically a comparison, and a compare report can be demonstrated by any tool that you get in the market. I mean, if it offers that functionality. Good search options, yes. You need to be able to drill down a particular device or a particular interface or a particular application to know its particular statistics with respect to bandwidth consumption or anything. It has to the source or the destination. A particular conversation, if you have to study, you will have to get a list of the sources and destinations at different points of time to study that particular conversation between that source and destination. So all this is possible only when you have good search options and it gives you correct results after the search. So basically, report generation, yes, it is one phrase with two words to say very easily, but it has a lot of complexity inside. And while evaluating a product, it is very important to make sure that all these features are available, very user-friendly and accurate as well. Third thing is integration with network monitoring products. That is, this is typically a specific requirement for certain organizations which are very big in size. Today, organization sizes have also changed. There are a truckload of startups with 50 employees, 100 employees, 200 employees, 300 employees, etc., and it goes on. The network sizes are different. I mean, it comes in extremely different shapes and sizes, and obviously the requirements are also very, very diverse. So the integration part mainly comes, a network monitoring product is needed typically in a very, very large network wherein managing itself is very difficult and complex. So considering future requirements, if the network is expected to grow at that rate, reach that far and all that, maybe an integration of an existing tool with a big network monitoring product, or whether the same company offers a huge suite and you can sort of use it as a plug-in there, is something which you need to consider. But is that alone sufficient? Well, we really don't think so at ManageEngine, of course, which is the whole reason why we have a product like NetFlow Analyzer. Network monitoring is required, but traffic analytics is a whole broad area which has so many things to consider, which we'll see in the later part of the webinar in the next few slides. So obviously, a big suite of network monitoring product is definitely not sufficient. Yes, it may be necessary, but it's certainly not sufficient. So that is exactly why we are doing this webinar. Now, the changing face of network traffic, yes, it is as scary as the picture is. It was a deliberate attempt to make it that scary because network traffic is changing in that pace. It is simply scary to look at the amount of changes that are happening there. Here is a sort of trip down memory lane. The 5 years, what have we been hearing? What are the buzzwords in network traffic, in IT networking in general? And yes, how it matters to us, you will know at the end of the webinar, which is not very far. 2009, SLAs, service-oriented networks, that was a very hot topic. And VoIP was quite a popular thing back then. Yes, the evolution of VoIP was much before, but 2009 still had the VoIP story going on everywhere. It was just all over the place. 2010, emphasis on video traffic started coming in. Probably that is when the social media, the YouTube, the WebEx, and all that gained a lot of popularity, and video traffic was being taken very seriously at that time, and it creeped into the networks, and people found it challenging to find out ways to manage video traffic in the network. And WAN acceleration, yes, to achieve performance of a LAN-like environment on a WAN was a very hot topic back then in 2010. 2011, year of outages, as people would put it. One side there were umpteen number of security breaches, not that there are any less today, but 2011 saw the peak of security breaches. I mean, a mere Google of security breaches 2011 will give you a very, very long list of security breaches that happened that year. And business continuity. It was, again, a year of outages. So networks went down, a lot of companies were hit, business was affected. I mean, that was one of the scariest years for networking. 2011 was. 2012, yes, lessons learned from 2011. Security had to be made better. So stronger network security was the first and the foremost, and for some companies, the only priority of that year, and high performance and high availability. That is based on the first point of 2011, business continuity. When a network cannot sit down and take rest because the load is heavy, it definitely needs to be able to give in enough bandwidth, enough resources, and enough space for so many applications and any number of users to operate on it within prescribed limits, of course. And performance cannot be a casualty because of the sheer multitude of users or applications, because we live in a world where applications and users are exponentially on the rise, and networks have to live up to it. So this is the whole reason why these tools are in place, to make your network performance optimal, if not the best. 2013, yes, BYOD is a big thing. 2012 itself, we've started hearing about BYOD, but BYOD was seen as a big problem back then, and people were racking their brain nerves to find out solutions to it. And this year, hopefully, will be the dawn of so many solutions for BYOD monitoring and integration. Yes, that is our main subject of discussion today. So efficient network monitoring and management can happen only when you integrate all of these functions that you've seen over the years. So if one tool can monitor your VoIP, your WAN acceleration, your network security, your video, your SLAs, your QoS, and ensure high performance and high availability, then hands down, eyes closed, that is the only tool that you need, and that's how it is. Network traffic analysis and monitoring. There are three basic approaches that we've dealt with here, three basic things, the different things which people do to monitor network traffic and analyze it. The first and the foremost is the very traditional hardware probes. I mean, I don't know how many of them remember those hardware probes today, but yeah, you still get hardware probes in the market, which are very bulky, which you need to physically connect to the network at a particular point, and it doesn't offer much scope for monitoring networks of today. I mean, for a primitive network monitoring, okay, what is going on there? What is who is talking to who? What are the top talkers, conversations, applications? Fine, you get that information. But space, maintenance, it is simply outdated today, and maybe years down the line, it will be called a fossil. The second thing is packet analyzers. Packet analyzers are like your Wireshark, which analyze your packets in detail and give you reports on that. Yes, it is considered a very foolproof way to monitor your network and to make sure that not one single thing goes wrong. But there are too many false positives there, and the kind of network traffic that we deal is very voluminous for Wireshark to handle, and that affects the speed of analysis. So troubleshooting obviously takes much longer, and that is the offset in packet analyzers. The third thing is flow-based monitoring. So what is flow-based monitoring? All you need to do is enable the flows in your router or your switch, whatever it is, and whatever flow format it supports, say NetFlow, JFlow, SFlow, there are so many flow formats, and it is there in your router. All you need to do is enable with the help of a few commands. And enabling flows on a router, you can find a lot of blog posts in the Manage Engine blogs itself. And we could take questions on that if you have any. How do you enable flows on your router? And then this simply is inbuilt in your router. So this means that you don't need to spend anything on additional infrastructure or additional hardware or anything. It takes a few commands to enable that on your router. And what it basically does is it integrates the functionality of a packet analyzer and that of a hardware probe. Whatever functionality the hardware probe and the packet analyzer performed, functionally it is the same, but physically it is not, because it is a web-based tool, a software-based solution. But what it does is packet analysis, maybe not at that level at which packet analyzers do, and that is the whole reason why too many false positives are thrown. But this does it at an optimum level and makes sure that your network is in safe hands and nothing goes wrong at all. So flow-based monitoring techniques, a classic example is your Cisco NetFlow. And like all of us know, it is patented a flow technology from Cisco, and two versions of it are available, the traditional, the V5 and the V9, the flexible NetFlow, which is known as FNF. And what it contains is a wealth of information about the network. A packet typically contains so much information that it can be collected, analyzed, and all your report generation can be done based on the information contained in the packet. Like we said, it needs enabling the flows in the router, and obviously no hardware installations are required, and all major device types are supported. I mean, they support not NetFlow. I mean, all of them don't support NetFlow, obviously, but they support one form or the other. Some support SFlow, some support IPFix. So depending on what it is, but one needs to make sure that the tool you purchase to monitor offers support, it is compatible with these flow formats. So the last point basically gives you some more examples of flows, types of flows, which I'm sure many of you are very familiar with. Allied technologies. Now, when we talk about integrated solution, it is not just about bandwidth and traffic anymore. I mean, that is very evident. We have so many other parameters to monitor and measure. So SLAs, QoS, and all that being some of them, here is what Cisco, since NetFlow was the example that we took, I've taken a group of allied technologies that facilitate complete monitoring of networks containing different kinds of traffic. It's just not email or CRM anymore. There are umpteen number of applications. There is WebEx. There is a lot of visual media happening there. There is a lot of video traffic in the network, and there is file sharing, P2P transfers. There is just so much to look into, and it needs a specialized technique for each. I mean, the technique that you use to monitor for each, the technology has to be tailor-made for that type of traffic, and only then it can give you measurable, accurate results which are effective too. So some of the examples are for service level agreements. For SLAs, Cisco IP SLA is Cisco's offering. CBQoS monitoring makes sure that your QoS is validated properly, or the quality of service is in place. Cisco NBAR, which is for deep packet inspection, which is to classify the different applications, even those applications that hide behind dynamic ports and all of that, like your Skype, etc. Cisco MediaNet is specifically for visual media, the video traffic, and the factors that affect MediaNet, video traffic such as your jitter, latency, etc. are measured through MediaNet. And MediaTrace is the trace route. It's basically the route which the packet takes across what routers it passes. If there is a drop in packets, in which router it is, to visually represent that, yes, you can use MediaTrace reports. And WAN accelerators are covered in Cisco WAS. So basically, we kind of cover every type of traffic that is traversing in your network through these allied technologies. And again, if there could be one tool that offers support for all of this, that is seriously a magic wand that you need to have. So that is basically a single point solution, or that is where your whole integrated approach to monitoring or managing IT network traffic starts. What do you get out of flow-based network analysis tools? Fine, you've gone ahead and you've started evaluating a flow-based analytics tool. So what are the different types of information that matter to you that the tool can provide? That is basically given in the slide. You can get hold of what your top conversations are, your top applications, your top protocols, top talkers, besides which, if it supports QoS, SLAs, and all of that, these are the reports. You need to ideally be able to get these out of a traffic monitoring tool, which calls itself modern, which calls itself relevant to the current day business, current day industry standards. So a traffic analytics tool cannot merely restrict itself with just the four odd functionalities here. It has to go beyond and be able to offer the following things also. Network security. Yes, there is a whole treasure house of information which is available in the NetFlow packet. And when collected over a period of time and analyzed, it can form patterns on its own and alert you when something is going wrong. The behavior of the network under normal circumstances is analyzed by an intelligent tool, and that is the whole concept behind your network behavior analysis. And that's a very critical aspect of network security, because once the security of a network is compromised, it obviously hits your applications and your number of packets in the network surge, and there is a possible attacker or a particular source which has faced the vulnerability, and it has given rise to this huge floodgate of packets. So to troubleshoot that, so when there is a typical rise in the number of packets that is being analyzed, well, an intelligent tool will sense that something is wrong and alert you, and your security breach can be mutilated at that point of time itself. So it is just not about your bandwidth reports or colorful graphs with what percentage of applications consume what percentage of bandwidth anymore. It's much beyond that, much more than that, and you will need to look forward to a tool that has all these capabilities. The same thing applies with your SLA reports for VoIP, WAN RTT, video, etc. Earlier it used to be VoIP and then WAN RTT to make sure that all your corners are connected by doing a ping test, round trip time test. And now video has also joined the SLA list, because on a video call, if it's going to be very jittery or if there's going to be very shaky, then obviously nobody's going to like it and everyone's going to blame the network administrator. So it's his bounden duty to make sure that the service levels are maintained equally for video as well, which consumes huge bandwidth, but it's all about prioritizing, and that is when your QoS comes in. You give priority to applications that are delay sensitive and give them more priority over not that latency sensitive applications. That is, file transfer will not get affected. Maybe it takes a bit longer, but if a packet in a video traffic gets delayed to get delivered, it's obviously going to affect the end result or the end output. So if you see, all these factors are basically go hand in hand and related to one another, and thus it becomes a single point solution to all your problems. One thing leads to the other, and when you solve the root cause of all the problems, then everything is in place. But that can be done only with a single point solution, not with multiple tools, which will obviously increase complexity and the time taken to troubleshoot. The next thing is, Okay, these are basically the technical function, the technical side of what you can expect out of a tool, what reports does it give, and what information that is given by the tool. But how it presents it, how effective, and how it helps you interpret it very easily is what we are seeing here. One is insightful dashboards. Customization is the most sought after word. I mean, some people are even annoyed by the term customization, but being in the IT industry, well, we've grown a hard skin, a very thick skin, and we are pretty used to hearing this term often. And we expect it also. Any tool that you offer should be customizable. Each one, I mean, it's not one size fits all anymore. So even if it's a dashboard, it needs to be customizable. Each one needs to be able to make his or her own dashboard, and obviously their cognitive skills will help them interpret those dashboards in the quickest possible way that suits them. So insightful dashboards is one thing. Second thing is zoomable graphs. Yeah, a lot of products in the market offer zoomable traffic graphs wherein you can go down and drill down to the most minute level to find out and perform a root cause analysis. And also take note of that to make sure that that doesn't happen again. Accurate and real-time traffic reporting. Now, this is something which you need to be very cautious about. Accuracy is the key. Once what you measure with the help of a tool is incorrect, but even when there is an outage, probably it shows that everything is normal. So accuracy takes a hit, and it has to be real time, because the whole point of minimizing your troubleshooting time relies on how real the reporting is and how real time the reporting is. The next thing is trend analysis and capacity planning. Dashboarding, drawing graphs out of whatever data you have that even Microsoft Excel can do. You don't need a traffic analysis tool for that. So what basically differentiates a reporter and an analyzer is the intelligence that it has on its own, the intelligence that is built into the tool by the manufacturer. So it needs to be able to go beyond the normal reporting, and it needs to be able to perform functionalities such as trend analysis. What has been the trend? So which is the maximum used application in the whole network? How can we optimize it? Is there a later version that will consume lesser bandwidth? To make these decisions, this tool can be of great help, provided it has some intelligence in it. The next thing is supporting multiple flow formats. Well, organizations differ in shapes and sizes like we've seen, and the devices that they employ to build their network also necessarily need not be the same. There's an organization X, it need not employ Cisco routers everywhere. It may choose to use a couple of different routers which support different flow formats. But if the tool is going to be very restricting and support only one flow format, then there is a huge problem, because for every flow format, you'll end up buying a different tool, and obviously that defeats the whole purpose of an integrated solution. It's no longer integrated, it is diversified. So if the given tool supports multiple flow formats, at least the major ones, then yes, you could check that box for that and go ahead with your evaluation. The next thing is wide platform support. Yes, Windows and Linux, and these days Mac is also getting very popular. So support for wide platforms is another critical aspect of what you expect out of an integrated tool. Network behavior analysis. So analyzing the security snapshot with the help of the flow information that it has. Again, intelligence plays a very key role here. It should be able to analyze it and throw alerts, minimize your false positives so that you don't get alerted for every little minute thing that happens in the network. And last but not the least, covers the different aspects that we saw in the previous slide too. Service levels, QoS, and your WAN acceleration, and everything put together. So if the tool is able to cover all of this, well, obviously that is exactly the tool that you need to go to. Benefits of a single point solution. Fine, you've known what is expected out of it, what factors matter to you, what are the critical things that you look forward in an integrated IT network monitoring tool. In terms of technicality, the technologies that you supported, that it supports, and in terms of presentation of reports, the analytics as well. But now we're going to take a look at what benefits it gives you. Earlier it was all about pain points. Now it's the happy period. After you've installed it, what all do you get? First of all, it saves troubleshooting time. And do I even need to tell you the value of time, especially when there is an outage? well, obviously everyone realizes it, and troubleshooting has to be done in the shortest possible time, and your tool is the only way to make that possible. Accelerate problem solving. That is, when the reports are insightful and it gives you exactly what your top stats are, you will be able to identify who is the culprit much quicker, and your problem is solved much faster. So when troubleshooting time is minimized, disaster recovery is obviously quickly done. And that also leads to minimum downtime. So once the problem is identified, the solution takes some time to implement and your network is up and running again. So basically this tool has helped a great deal, saved you troubleshooting time and minimized your downtime. This means your ROI is improved. Earlier you used to have a lot of bottlenecks in the network. The downtime was much longer, and to keep the network up and running again used to take much longer time because the analysis part itself took half your time. But since this tool is pretty fast in identifying the issues for you and your network is up and running again, the losses in terms of customer service or resource utilization that you incur in the meantime, your employees don't have access to critical applications at that point of time. Productivity gets affected, work gets affected. So obviously that translates into a lot of dollars, and improved ROI is when you recover all of it, when you do not have all these issues cropping up, when you have minimum downtime and your network is up and running again, everything is in place. So the quicker, the lesser is the cost incurred in the intermediate time. So that is exactly what your improved ROI is. The next thing is, this is obviously the smartest alternative to multiple tools from multiple vendors, like I was saying. So if there is one tool that can support a variety of flow formats or a variety of technologies, is compatible in different environments, is web-based, it is very easy to install and manage, and the reports are very insightful, then making that decision makes you the smartest person there. And that is basically a relief from the different silos in IT management. By silos, what we mean is when you departmentalize each thing specifically and go into detail, like SLAs, well, you have a free IP SLA monitor which is available, which is offered by a huge player in the IT management space. For traffic analytics, you have a free traffic analyzer. Yes, there are a lot of free tools. There is a multitude of free options that you can use, but you will ultimately be the juggler in a circus, which a lot of tools with different reports for all of it. Improve service levels. Yes, when you know what the jitter, what the latency, what the packet loss, what the MOS is, it takes much little time to fix it, because identification of the problem is where the core issue is. So when that is fixed, your service levels obviously improve. And the next slide deals with the business cases, like a certain industry-specific uses of an integrated solution. So we've basically seen what all an integrated tool offers, and within that scope of the tool, what benefits it offers to a particular industry. What significance is an integrated tool is of to an ISP, an internet service provider? First thing is capacity planning. The growth in the ISP sector, well, I don't even need to tell you, because every day in the newspaper we see some sort of a news or the other, expansion or problems with licensing, etc. for ISPs, which means clearly the customer base is growing. There is absolutely no doubt about it. But to what capacity can their existing infrastructure provide bandwidth to all their customers? What will be the future growth based on the past trends? If it is exponential, it is additive, whatever it is, some sort of an analysis needs to be done, and it can be very well predicted with existing data. So that is basically what your capacity planning report does, so that you can plan your infrastructure-based, your physical equipment, what you would need to cater to the future, cater to the needs of the customers in the future, or the new customer base that you're acquiring. So provisioning sufficient bandwidth is done with the help of capacity planning reports. The next thing is QoS monitoring. Quality of service. We know how important it is to prioritize delay-sensitive applications, and ISPs can make the best use of it by QoS. Deep packet inspection, yes, to identify applications that use dynamic ports and provision bandwidth accordingly, and all that deep packet inspection is done. Cisco nbar is typically one technology, and monitoring Cisco nbar can help a long way in achieving this. Billing, yes, it is the most critical and the most sought after use by the ISP. So every month bill generation is a tedious process for the growing consumer base. So when you have a billing module integrated in the product, that typically saves the effort to generate these bills because it's automated, and there can be several variants in the offering in terms of speed or volume. The next thing is data center traffic monitoring. If you are a data center, how an integrated tool is of use to you. One is live traffic information. As a data center service provider, it is very important for you to know what your top sources and destinations are. That is basically knowing your customers better and serving them better. And the volume of traffic at each interface is also critical to monitor, so that when it exceeds a particular limit, you can take the prescribed course of action there. The next thing is protocol analysis, a very debatable subject, but it cannot be denied that a lot of data center providers engage in intelligent protocol analysis. And that is of very good use when you put it to use and you don't abuse it or misuse it. So as long as protocol analysis is constructively used, it can aid a great deal in forensic analysis and troubleshoot quickly the security-related breaches or problems in the network. Network security anomaly detection. Yes, to secure the data center and the data that is there, it is more than a mandatory function for a data center to make sure that it is secure. And with the kind of zero-day attacks that we see today, a tool that can intelligently detect, proactively alert you is what you need. And so this feature is of specific use to the data center. And graphical representation. For the huge volume, it is not practically possible to monitor each and everything. So graphically representing it and identifying what the dark spots are, yes, that can be done only by an analytics tool, which has very good reporting features and functionality. And the last business case that we have included here is a financial institution. How a financial institution needs to make use of an integrated solution. I mean, what significance it is of to the financial institution. One is, when a network is sluggish, it definitely affects your financial money-sensitive transactions. So put it back to normal state, you need to perform root cause analysis quickly. I mean, immediately RCA may not be possible practically, but analysis is a mandatory step. And then drilling to the root cause to fix it in the long run is another side of it. In any case, a tool is not something which you can do away with. So that is exactly the need of the hour. Once troubleshooting becomes faster, the downtime is minimized. Quick restoration obviously leads to minimum downtime, and that cuts a lot of cost in the intermediate disturbances that are caused. Alerts based on configurable thresholds. A certain application cannot consume more bandwidth. Within a financial institution, Skype or WebEx is of very little significance. It is mostly meant for financial software. Maybe a few big client calls or deals or whatever purpose they're using the video conferencing is for. It is definitely not more important than provisioning bandwidth to a financial software, which is of critical importance to the bank. So how do you manage that? So when bandwidth given to video traffic exceeds a particular threshold, you need alerts, and that threshold, it needs to be configurable because you don't know when it will change from time to time based on your existing capacity at that point of time, etc. So that is also a very mandatory step. And continuous availability. Availability and business continuity go hand in hand. So once a network is available all the time and it offers good service levels, and that is what you need basically for a financial institution. That is when the reliability, the brand value, the trust of the customers in the institution grows. So it applies to every institution, of course, but for a financial institution, it takes even more importance because the transactions are basically financial in nature. What are the business benefits that the tool offers you? Nothing new. We've seen all of this earlier. It's just a quick enlisting of the benefits. One is you take complete control of your network infrastructure. It doesn't, the applications don't behave the way they want. I mean, even if they do, you can simply bang on their head and put them in the right place by adopting a particular strategy. The second thing is, we've had companies tell us they have saved up to 80% in terms of optimized bandwidth and the resources that are required for that. 80% savings is a huge deal which any IT administrator would understand. And better resource allocation to make sure that your network resources are properly used, put to better use, and that helps in improving productivity. The next thing is quick recovery from disaster and sluggishness cuts a lot of costs that you have lost in between the troubleshooting time in terms of the lost business transactions or the slowed down transactions. Assured service levels at the best class. So best in class service levels for your voice, for your video, so that everything is very efficient in your network. So that is another core benefit. By QoS, you can make sure that it is only your business critical applications that receive the highest priority, and you can put down the applications that are not much relevant to your business, such as YouTube or Skype or anything which may not be that relevant as a Cisco WebEx or a GoToWebinar. Maximum priority can be given so that your service levels are improved, and highest priority is given to your apps that matter the most. Optimized resource usage and minimum downtime. This is the same story. I'm not going to repeat it. Summary. We did take a look at what the buzzwords in the networking industry for all these years have been. What are the most sought after technologies? What are the most talked about technologies? And then we saw the different tools that were available, the hardware probes, packet analyzers, and then flow-based solutions. And the core part of the discussion was restricted to flow-based tools because that was considered the best option. So what are the advantages? Easy installation, free trial available, instant download and installation. Integrated approach is basically the entire subject of today's webinar, which is a wide platform-wise support, monitors QoS, SLAs, network security, WAN acceleration, supports different flow formats such as SFlow, JFlow, NetFlow, AppFlow, whatever type of flows that are available. And it is not a mere reporting solution, but an analytical solution with a considerable amount of intelligence that has gone into it and gives you very insightful reports. The benefits were the core. The last part of the session dealt with benefits, industry-specific benefits for ISPs, for a data center, for a financial institution, and also the overall benefits from an organizational point of view. So that brings us to the end of the session, and the final word that I would like to say is everybody creates products. It's not very hard to find products that do these functionalities either separately or together in the market. But what we at ManageEngine believe is in creating value. So everyone creates products and we create value. That is the core distinguishing factor of ManageEngine. And it's question time. Let me take a look at what questions I've received in my chat window and see if we can answer them. Okay. The first question that we've received is, does ManageEngine offer a solution that offers all of this? Yes, we do have a product called NetFlow Analyzer, and you can visit the website link that you will receive in your chat window to know about the different features and the functionalities that it offers, the flow formats that it covers, and all of that. The second question that I've received is, types of flows. Okay, basically this question is from, a little bit of an explanation on the types of flows. Basically, Cisco NetFlow is the widely popular flow format in the market. A flow packet contains a whole lot of information. It has encrypted information with regards to where it is coming from, that is the source, where it is going to, the destination, what it contains, which application generated it, a lot of things. I mean, I could send you a resource on explaining how the flow, the whole concept of flows work, and how each flow, how do you enable these flows on different devices and all that. We have it documented, Akshay, and I would email you that document. And the next thing is there one single tool that performs network security and how seriously it can be taken? That is, okay, compared to your separate security tool, the biggest benefit that you get of out of integrating the network security aspect with the traffic monitoring is, like I said, once there is a security breach, it definitely has a major impact on the traffic patterns in the network. I mean, that is how attacks are launched. I mean, there is a sudden surge in the number of packets. The network is not able to handle these packets, and a particular IP or a particular source becomes a victim there. I mean, the hacker or whoever is the attacker makes use of a particular victim, and that is where the packets origin. The whole floodgate of packets originate from a single source or from multiple sources, and you need to quickly identify them and block them or take the necessity of troubleshooting action. And that change can immediately be seen on a real-time traffic monitoring tool. That is the whole idea of going for integrating network security with this product. Yes, you can get the same presentation. You can get the same presentation. We'll upload it on our website in a couple of days. And yeah, that question is from Sarita from Ranbaxy, and we'll be glad to share this PPT, Sarita, and you can make use of it. We'll also be sending you a document of explaining in detail what this presentation is all about. PPT is just slides, and the explanation that was given to it is being documented, and the session is also being recorded, and it will be available in our website and on YouTube for you to view and benefit. And David Banda said the webinar was enjoyable. Thank you so much. And yes, we will email you the entire document. It's okay. I mean, it's understandable that one joined late. The remaining questions, yes, we've been receiving more and more questions, and I'm really sorry, due to time constraints and practical reasons, we're not able to answer them in this session right now, but I will send you a personalized email answering all of those questions. Thank you very much for being with us all this time, and we look forward to see you in our next session, and the announcement will come soon, and you'll receive the mailer. In the meanwhile, if you have any queries, please send in your questions to nfs@manageengine.com, and you can follow Manage Engine blogs, forums, our Facebook page, and our Twitter page. Stay in touch, and happy traffic monitoring. See you.